Hello and welcome back to my sports series. Today I'm going to show you my version of baseball for the Disney Infinity 3.0 toy box. And I'm sorry it's taken so long to bring this to you. It took quite a while to figure out how to do the logic for this game in a way that wasn't overly complicated. But hopefully it will be worth the long wait. Unlike the other sports games in this series, I'm going to break this one up into several videos. I have to do that in order to cover all of the logic. The logic isn't difficult because I've already figured all that out, but there's a lot of it, and it's going to take time to walk you through it all. So first, let me take a few minutes to explain how my Toy Box baseball game works. After that, I'll bring in Mrs. Toy Box to play an inning with me so you can see this game in action. And then I'll show you how to do the build exercise for my baseball stadium. And if we have any time left at the end, I'll start hooking up the logic. And the next two videos will show the rest of the logic. Okay, so this is going to be a little different than regular baseball. Normally, there are 9 players on a team, but in the Toy Box, we only have 2 players. So I had to design a game that feels like baseball, but doesn't require so many players. And by the way, this game does require 2 players, so you won't be able to play this on the PC version of Disney Infinity, only the consoles. Sorry about that, but that's just the way it is. Now, we're here on the pitcher's mound, and let me give you an overview of the game. So one player is going to bat while the other pitches and defends. The batter is going to step on the trigger at home plate over there, and then the defending player will pitch the ball. And he'll do that by stepping on this trigger. And you'll notice there is no player standing on home plate, so nothing happens. And that's intentional because I don't want the pitcher to be able to pitch the ball before the batter is ready. So that's just a little check that's in the game here. Players must be standing on both triggers or the ball won't be dropped. Now when the ball is pitched, it'll drop from the sky onto the slope here and roll toward home plate. And the batter is going to put the ball into play and then run down the first baseline over that way. And so far, this probably feels like regular baseball. But here's where Toy Box baseball differs from regular baseball, because there is no way that the defending player can field the ball and deliver it over there to first base in time to get the runner out. It is just not going to happen. This is a pretty big field to cover for just one player. And so I had to change the rules. So the batter's goal is to put the ball into play and then start running around the diamond. And for every base that they can touch, they're going to score 1 point. And if you can run all 4 bases, you'll score the maximum of 4 points. Now the defender's goal, after they've pitched, is to intercept the ball and put the ball into the goal behind home plate. The faster they can do that, the fewer points the batter will be able to score. The batter needs to send the ball as far away from home plate as possible to send the defender chasing after it. And that gives them time to run the bases. And the defender needs to get the ball into that goal as fast as possible to minimize the number of points the other player can score. So players are allowed to punch the ball, ground pound it, shoot it, whatever it takes to get the ball moving fast and far. Now once the ball enters the goal, Mr. Incredible's getting impatient with me. Once the ball enters this goal, it records an out. And after 3 outs, players switch sides. So each player gets 3 chances to bat and score whatever points they can, and then the inning is over. And the game is 9 innings long, but if you only want to play 1 inning, or 3 innings, or whatever, all you have to do is change the target value property on 1 counter before you start the game, and you're good to go. Now I've built a game board there in the outfield that helps you keep track of the game's progress. On the left are 2 color changing blocks, and when the game starts, the top one will be lit up green to indicate the top of the inning, and that player 1 is the batter. After 3 outs and the players switch, the bottom indicator lights up green, which indicates we're in the bottom of the inning, and you know that player 2 is batting. Along the bottom are 9 color-changing blocks that indicate which inning we are in. And the 3 in the upper right, as you can probably guess, record which outs, how many outs we have. And so that game board is a vital necessity to help you keep track of where you are in the game, because I found without it, it's really easy to get confused as to who's batting and what we're doing. So that should help out nicely. But now that I've explained it and you understand how we play Toy Box Baseball, now I'll bring in Mrs. Toy Box and we'll play an inning for you. Okay, I'm here with Mrs. Toy Box. Say hello to everybody.
Hi, everybody.
Be on your guard. This isn't the safest place ever.
And we'll step on the challenge maker and start the game. Now, player 1 bats first. And that's me.
Play ball!
Okay, I'm ready. And for right now, I'll just push this thing and put it in play.
Safe!
And didn't even make it to second base. Got 1 point, though. So you can see that just pushing the ball doesn't really give you much of an advantage. You've really got to get that thing away from home plate if you want to score a lot of points. All right, I'm ready to go. So this time, let's try ground pounding it.
Safe! Safe! Safe!
Coming up on home plate. Uh-oh. I did it. Just barely. All right. So that's 2 outs now, and you can see on the game board we have 2 outs showing. Okay, all set. All right. There we go. Uh-oh, that didn't work real well. I didn't even make it to first base. Alrighty. And you can see from the game board that now we're in the bottom of the inning, so now we switch. So now Mrs. Toy Box is batting, and I am pitching and defending. That's pretty good. So if I push up, perfect. All right, here comes the ball. And you'll notice she had to wait until after the whistle blew. That's letting you know that the ball is in the trigger area, and you can go ahead and hit it, or shoot it, or whatever you want to do as a batter. If you shoot it too soon, it will never enter that trigger area, and you won't be able to run the bases. There we go. Wow, you almost made it around. Okay, so that was the first out. So now back up to the pitcher's mound. You went a little too far. Okay, now just push up. There you go. Now you're facing the mound. Oh. If I were a little quicker, I could have maybe blocked that.
Safe! Good morning! Safe! Safe!
Oh no! I don't think I'm gonna make it. Nice. That was a close one. Okay, so that was, yeah, second out. That game board helps so much to keep track of where we are. All right, you ready? Whoa! Well, I managed to contact it that time. Deflected it.
Safe! Safe! Safe!
Phew. And that little trumpet means we're on to the second inning. So that's a full inning. So at this point we would switch, and she would go back and pitch, and I would go ahead and bat, and we'd continue on through however many innings we wanted to play. But I think that's enough to give you a good idea of the game. So let's go ahead and end the challenge. Thank you, Mrs. Toybox. And now that you guys have seen how the game is played, I'll show you how to build it. Okay, I'm starting in an empty toy box, and the first thing I want to do is put down a sky changer. And in the properties, under the sky, go to the Disney Infinity Sky, and I'm using the Metroville Sky from the Incredibles playset. And now we can delete the sky changer. For the terrain theme, we're going to use the ESPN grass, which is the sports fan. I'll set that to be my theme. And you can see I've also dropped another little terrain block out there ahead of time to save time. We'll get to that in a bit. All right, so underneath this category, and I don't know how much I saved time because I have to scroll back to the left, but we're going to come back here to this terrain block. And I'm building it so that first base is going to sit right here in this little corner. All right, which means home plate is down this way and we're facing out that way. The orientation of this doesn't really matter, but that's what I'm doing. All right, we're going to grab the next size terrain block. We're going to fit this into this corner, and we're going to move 2 nudges left. So one block, 1 terrain cube, and same that way. All right. And if you do that right, you've got enough room to fit this terrain cube right here in this corner. And for the terrain cube, we're going to set the theme on this to use the Buried Treasures theme. That's what we're going to use for the dirt. And I set that to be my theme. And then we're just going to run these around the perimeter of this block. Takes 4 of them to go down the side of that block. Okay, and then for the pitcher's mound, you want to go to the middle of the line there, and to the middle of the line over there. So this block should be centered with that terrain seam and with that terrain seam. And then for the pitcher's mound, we're going to use this little piece over here. So let me set that to be Buried Treasures as well. And when I pick this up, you'll see where this is. It's the small corner hill. So if you scroll right past these rectangular blocks we've been using, that's where you'll find that. We're going to put 1 on each corner of that cube. And then if you scroll to the right from there, you have to go down a little ways. And you'll find this long terrain slope that matches that slope. And we'll put one on each side of that terrain cube. And that gives us our pitcher's mound. Alright, and then we will set the theme back to our ESPN grass sports fan. I'm going to pick this piece up and put it down. And at this point, we'll just fill in some more terrain around the perimeter of this. How much you put down really just depends on how big you want to make your city around the stadium. I'm not going to try to build too much, but I need to put down enough. And then we need this smaller block to sit in here. And plug the gap. Alright, so there is the baseball diamond and the grass around it. Now for the stadium stands, we're going to place this long, tiny, and thin terrain block right off the end of home plate, just like that, with a terrain cube on the end. So basically you've got a 4-block distance there. And then we go up to the sports toys, to the stadium stands. And the first stadium stand is going to sit right off the end of the block like that. We'll put 3 of those down, followed by the curve. Followed by 3 more of these, and a curve. And you'll notice the outfield is not very deep, and that's by design, because with one player, you don't have any ability to cover anything bigger than that. So you don't need a large outfield for this game. There'd be no way you could field the ball in time. And as you saw in the playthrough, there were a few times we barely had time to get the ball back to home plate, even in the size stadium that we have. So you definitely don't want to make that any bigger. Now back down to the blocks, terrain blocks. We're going to use this block here and put it right behind that. And I'm going to change the theme on this because I don't like the side of the texture there. And I'm going to use the Metroville Cityscape. I'll set that to be the theme. And we'll place this down like that. We'll place another one of these off the back end of these 3, and we're just going to build up the stadium stands a little bit along the first baseline and the third baseline, so that it looks a little bit more like a typical baseball stadium. As you can see, this build goes pretty quick. It's a pretty easy build. And then for some decoration, we'll put one of these lights on each of these terrain seams. And rather than display it there, we'll scoot it over to the left. So on the ends, it's like this. And along the middle, it's on the terrain seam. And we'll display them around here along the back on the terrain seam, or on the stadium stand seams as well. We're going to leave room there for our game board. We'll put one of these along each of those seams. And that's just decoration. That's kind of nice. Back to the terrain drawer. We'll put one of these underneath each of these guys. And that'll also help cover up that terrain seam. Don't want those things looking like they're floating in midair for no reason. Oops. And there we go. And now we can take these little spacers out. Now for the section behind home plate, let me pull up my screen grab for that to make sure I get this correct. Okay, so under the blocks category, we're going to place the first block right here like this, and I want to set the theme for these blocks to use the modern, or is it plastic 2? I think it's plastic 2. Yeah. I'll set that to be the theme. And so we're going to build kind of a little pocket here where the ball can go. And actually, I think, let's take that back out. We'll just put this down. I like this idea a little bit better. So like that. That just prevents the ball from getting away. Okay, and at this point, that's really about all we need. You can put in any kind of details you want. I had placed in some buildings just around the perimeter, so when you're in the stadium, it looks like you're in a city, but you can use whatever scenery you want to use. Whatever you do, make sure you leave plenty of room for the game board. And let's see, just make sure. I'm going to go ahead and just show you what I did. That way, because I know a lot of you like to build exactly what I've got. You like to duplicate it as precisely as possible. And under the set pieces, I stuck the Nicelanders building in here. If I can find it. There it is. And that's going to sit in here kind of like that. And you'll notice they're hanging off the terrain. That's where you can put down more terrain if you want. But the focus here is not the buildings so much as the stadium itself. And so I only put these down just as a way to have some kind of a background when you're in the stadium. You're not really going to see the base of these buildings from inside the stadium. So you don't have to put a lot of detail down. Now obviously, if you're building this, you may want to turn this into a bigger toy box, add some other adventures and things, and that's fine. I choose not to do that for this demo though. Alright, and then we'll place these along here. Just put some extra buildings. A little bit longer building. Maybe stick another piece of terrain under there. And like I said, that way when you're inside the stadium, you've got some scenery to look at. And then if you wanted, you could stick one of these hot air balloons up here from the Building Sets Group 2. These are from the San Francisco playset, or theme. That just gives you something nice up in the sky. Most gaming events have Goodyear blimps and things, so there you go. Alright, so there is our build. And how we doing on time? Well, we're getting kind of short on time, but I think I'm going to do just a little bit more here. First thing I want to do is put in the goal behind home plate. And that's going to require a little bit of finagling because the goal needs to sit at an angle, but you can't do that in the editor. And so the only way to make that work is you've got to use a I'll drop this back here for right now. You got to use a path. So under the Creativitoys, we'll go to the left and grab our path creator. All right, let me see exactly where I got to place this. I kind of had this figured out. I'm going to pick this piece up and put it down. We're just going to put another one in here by way of spacing. And another one over here, same thing. And this will help you to position this path in the right place. So we want to put it at the intersection of the line connecting those two corners. So right there, like that. And it did not put us in point mode, so let me delete that and do that again. All right, so we want it lined up with that corner and that corner. Okay, and then we'll bring this out just a little ways. Doesn't have to go too far. And on the path properties, you want to turn off auto start objects when connected. And then we can delete these two little blocks. And you want to put this in a place, again, where it's out of the way, where you're not planning to put anything else. So probably the best place to drop this would be under the terrain, where there's no chance when you're building of this getting in the way. And then we'll do a new path connection on that. Okay. And then select the goal, open the properties. Under Toy Box Path, we want to orient along the path, which angles it, but it's facing the wrong way. So you got to come down to the rotation property and rotate that 180 degrees. And there you go. Now that's in place. Okay, I think we're going to go ahead and stop there for today. I was hoping to get a little bit more of the logic done, but I think we're going to have to save all of that for next time. So next time I'll show you how to implement the logic for the baseball game itself, and then in the following video I'll show you how to build the game board and hook up the logic for that. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed my video today. If so, please hit the like button and leave a comment to let me know what you think of my baseball game. I'd love to hear from you. Also, make sure you come back for the next 2 episodes so you can see how to hook up the logic for this game. Or better yet, subscribe to my channel if you haven't done that already so you won't miss them. That's all for me today. See you next time.